Good evening and welcome to the BloomingTown Variety Hour. It's February 2nd, 2006. Got some great guests for you tonight. We have Tom Szymanski of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. He's the local union organizer. We have Dale Staten, founder, creator of BloomingtonOnline.net. And we also are privileged enough to have Cherry Merritt Dario with us from Deer Path Yoga. Some interesting things in the news this week, sort of a week of mourning for some of us, I think. We had the State of the Union address 2 nights ago. We have a $37.9 billion budget cut of entitlements like student loans, which is important in this town. I think got some bills going through the local House and Senate concerning privatization and telecom bill that I think we'll be talking about later on our discussion panel. Like to thank the Chautauqua Band for getting us in there. I guess we're ready to bring out our first guest, Dale Staten, the creator of BloomingtonOnline.net. We're gonna get a computer set up here so we can do a little demonstration for everybody of exactly how they can use and manipulate and have fun, send postcards on Dale's website.
All right. I'm Dale Staten, as you know, and I'd like to give you just a very quick overview of Bloomington Online. The main focus of tonight's presentation is to show you how to use the forum so you can continue the conversations that are brought up on this show. And then furthermore, for upcoming shows, if you have any ideas that you'd like to see discussed, you can also put those into the forum as well.
All right, we can all see BloomingtonOnline.net on the screen there. If you guys don't know about this yet, this is really great. It's a great chance for our community to come together for businesses, business reviews, and all that, and Dale's going to show us all that. I think starting with the forum, or do you just want to give us a little overview of your favorite things on the site?
Let me give you the 5-cent tour.
Okay.
First of all, there's the weather. Then we have the upcoming events for the next day here on the left. If you click on any one of these, you go to the full calendar. Here are the current topics that are going on in the forum. And again, you click on those and you can go straight to it. These are any announcements that might be happening. And here are generally scenes of Bloomington. In this case, it's J.P. Dario sculptures of Adam and Eve.
That's a special note to our guest, Cherry Merritt Dario.
That's very true. There's a calendar of events. That allows you to look at different events. If you want to just see what's going on at a particular place, you can choose that particular calendar and everything goes away except that particular organization. Or you can also sort by type. So if you only want to see the music that's going on in town, you'll see just the music. We have a directory of local businesses and social service agencies, so if you have a need, you can try any one of these options to find out where to go to get help.
And also give a review so you can sort of put your 2 cents in if you don't particularly like what a business does, or if you think they're great and you'd like to tell everyone in the community using the website to go there.
That's very true. Actually, the whole website is designed to be interactive. So it's not just being presented to you to take it or leave it. You can actually add your comments just about every step of the way. We have free classified ads, so if you've got a sofa that's taking up all the space in your living room, you can get rid of it and buy that dream futon you've been thinking about. We have games to waste your time when you're stuck on hold trying to resolve one bill or another. We have puzzles, which have different scenes of Bloomington.
Yeah, this was my favorite part. You can choose by like the number of pieces in the puzzle for difficulty level, for how much time you have.
Here we have JP's work again. This is Faces, that is in the Miller Shower Park, and it's in 25 pieces. And depending on how much time you have to kill, you can choose a 16-piece puzzle up to a 64-piece puzzle. And if a lot of puzzle fanatics send an email, I can make it smaller than that if you're really a masochist. We have electronic postcards, and you can send scenes of Bloomington. You can send your local church. You can send a postcard with any of the graffiti around. One of the nice things about Bloomington is I found that most of the graffiti is not just the two-legged equivalent of peeing on your territory. There's actually a fair amount of artwork involved, and some of these are very intricate. And I think that this is one of the things that we can actually celebrate about Bloomington. Some of these are on the parking barricades behind Blooming Foods. There's a virtual museum on that old railroad bridge on 3rd Street. Yeah. And you can turn one of these into a postcard and send it to any of your friends and get graffiti off the walls and into the internet where it belongs.
I like that because it sort of captures the feel of Bloomington a lot, even for people who aren't here, which is why you said you started this website, right? We're talking about celebrating Bloomington, kind
Exactly.
of. I don't know, I think this is great.
We have a chat room. I don't really know that there's a lot of explanation that's necessary about that. You log in and you have real-time interaction with people. The chat room is just now coming up, so sometimes people are coming there by themselves and missing each other. So I put a little note board here on the left where you can actually post a message. Sorry I missed you, I'll come back at 10 o'clock, to kind of help people find each other. 24 hours is pretty low odds to meet somebody right now. Now the feature that we want to cover today is the forum.
So that everybody can go online and comment with what they see on the show, talk about topics.
So I'm going to give you a quick overview, and then I'm going to let Rebecca actually join the forum and make a post.
Hopefully figure it out.
And if you're watching this at home, you can log in to bloomingtononline.net right now and click the forum button, and you can post a response to this show. It's broken into general categories. There's the site news and announcements. There's the lounge, anything and everything. And this is pretty multicultural. We have some Russian discussions going on, which I have no idea what they're about. We have a beginning Spanish area. And it's either for people that are from Russia or from Spanish-speaking countries that don't speak English well, and they're getting really frustrated trying to find a good store to go to or a good something, and it gives people an opportunity to talk in their native language.
That's great.
Or if you're fumbling around trying to learn Spanish or Russian, you can go in and give them something to laugh about. We have Bloomington reviews, plays, concerts, exhibits. Everybody wants to be a critic. Here's your chance.
Exactly.
Here's some local politics, current events, Bloomington and Monroe County, national events and international events.
Yeah, a big theme that we've been hitting on in this show is the need for, communication locally about politics. And what would be the best way to go about that, and the internet seems like a viable suggestion. So I don't know. I just think it's so great that you're putting together this website.
Well,
I don't
thank you.
want to make you blush or anything.
It's all too easy. BloomingtonOnline.net has no political preference. So, and it's really important to me that it stays balanced to hear voices from all sides. I don't want this to be a place where everybody says the same stuff over and over and everybody else says glory, hallelujah. But at the same time, like Rebecca said the other day, it's not to be the Jerry Springer show either. It's not to incite hate and rage. Maybe it could be an environment where new ideas come, when people can actually discuss something intelligently without frothing at the mouth. Mm-hmm. And if they do froth, hopefully they don't gum up their keyboard.
And if this show makes you froth, you should definitely join in anyway.
That's very true. Here's what's going on at the schools, Bloomington North, Bloomington South, IU. I'm not really getting into the grade school or the middle school. It makes me kind of nervous being responsible for kids running around on the website. And finally, sports. I know nothing and care nothing about watching people run around with balls, but some people do, so here's a place to do it. Which actually brings up an interesting point, because if you're interested in something like college sports or high school sports and you're particularly knowledgeable, I would love to have you be a moderator, because I know nothing and I would contribute very little to the quality of the sports discussions.
So there's a position open for anyone that's listening that's a sports aficionado. So you want to do this forum thing, the
Well, certainly.
education?
So the first thing that you would do is to register.
All right.
So you just click. You want me to hold that, or?
That'd be fantastic. Just keep it away from your mic a little bit. Okay, so I go click on register. Pick a username. Be Reba Haynes. That's my nickname.
Now here you have the option. You can use your real name or you can make something up. It depends on how comfortable you are with it. It's like that cartoon on the internet. Nobody knows you're a redhead.
What? I finally figured out this year that if you use one password for all your passwords, you don't forget it anymore.
So now it thanks you for registering, and it sends you an email to make sure you're not some computer program.
So we're going to go check my email just to make sure that it's up and running, and I'm not a computer program. No, unfortunately, no one can read all of my emails. All right. Oh, it's I don't see it. I get so much junk mail. Should I refresh? It's not
that would
showing
be
up
good.
here. Okay.
Sometimes there's a lag between mail servers. With as many people as there are on the IU system, there probably is. They probably run it every 5 minutes or so.
Okay. Well,
We can go back and log
I still
in.
don't see the confirmation letter, but I assure you I'll get it eventually. Okay. Now we can go to login. I'm miserably slow at using laptops because I'm not.
It'd probably be
used to them.
log in as me, D. Staten,
Okay.
because you're not activated, so it won't let you in until you get your email.
Okay. You want to do the login then for that?
Sure.
Okay. I don't want to steal your password. With the creator's password, let's just say it's a good thing I'm not a hacker.
Have we established that?
Yeah. No, I'm not.
All right.
Okay. So to do a forum post. Gave me the instructions yesterday. Let's hope I still remember.
Pick a topic, any topic.
Okay. Can I make my own topic?
Sure. Just find a
Oh,
general.
here we go. I get it. We'll go local events.
And then to post a new one, you click on new topic.
Let's go to subject.
If you're used to
So,
forums, this is
local
nothing new. And if you're not familiar
media.
with forums, it's pretty much like email, except what you post is available for everybody to comment on.
Okay. Is that good? And then just send.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Now it looks like you said that. Uh-oh. Cheating. Okay. Do I need to do anything else should we go back and show them that it's up? Or?
Well, do you want to reply to that?
As you again? I guess we could do a reply. Okay.
Or you could pick another topic and reply
That's
to
all
it.
right. No. Actually, yeah, no.
Some people are just so high tech that talking to themselves is not enough. You actually have to send email to yourself. Not that I'm one of those people.
That's your reply.
Where we're supposed to look.
What?
I'm not a computer person. I'm a generation before computers. What am I trying to look at? What am I looking for?
Well, she's typing in a message.
I can see that there's some things moving there, yes.
Basically, anyone could come online and comment on them, any comments that are posted. So it's kind of like this running dialogue, basically. So, if you wanted to see what some people's opinions were about, like, yeah, exactly. A very good way of putting it. It's sort of a community dialogue. Like I know a lot of college students do the whole MySpace and whatnot, but it seems really cool that this could almost be like something like that, but without maybe the drama and I don't know. Yeah, something a little bit more formal.
Well, not that I know that the Herald Times had one for a while, and it got too embarrassing or too. I've just heard. I haven't heard directly from them, but I hear that it got pulled because they were worried about liability. Is what it boils down to.
Chair wants to comment on the Adam and Eve statue.
Oh, okay, we've got a comment from our next guest on the Adam and Eve statue. Can we go back to that here? I guess I could try to do it to prove that I'm educated. Oh, no. Click on which one? Oh. Huh. Huh.
You may have to click refresh a couple of times. Every time you come to the site, there's a different picture, so we're going to have to cycle through until we get to Adam and Eve.
But in the meantime, we get to look at lots of pretty pictures. There's the greenhouse. Oh, there we go. You can come on up. And would you like the microphone for a second?
Sure. Okay. We came to Bloomington in 1961, Jean Paul and I, with 4 kids. And he worked on this in a studio, which was at the corner of Lampions Ridge Road and 446. That was a 2-room schoolhouse at one time. That's where these were created. And our oldest child, our 12-year-old son, did the bass. It's in 12 parts. If you've walked around over in the woods and looked at them, it's a little hill that comes up between them, a little hillock, I guess you would call it. Very significant. for anybody trying to have a two-person relationship or more. So I just wanted to point that out. I mean, Adam and Eve, maybe they can never get together. And all the things around that. So you might go look at the base again.
So the hill's actually in between them?
A little hillock is between the two of them trying to reach each other.
Huh.
That goes up like a little hill.
I was just looking at that like a week ago, and I didn't notice that.
You didn't
so I'll have to go
notice,
back.
you see. And also Adam had his dick sawed off by
Rat boy.
at one point one night. And our middle son was riding bikes through the woods with his friend. And they saw that, and they were hysterical. They went on their bikes up to 801 North Jordan to report it to the police. They ran in screaming, "Adam's lost his dick, Adam's lost his dick." And one of the boys, my son, was named Adam, so they thought they had to call the ambulance. That's all I know.
Okay, Jerry's actually our next guest, so we'll be seeing more of her in just a moment. She's actually going to do some yoga with us, too, after I talk to her for a second. So we're inviting anyone from the audience that would like to come up and do some yoga with us to join us if they would like. That'll be just in a moment. Dale, did you have anything else you wanted to point out on the website? Or we are running a little short on time now, just to not to rush you.
BloomingtonOnline.net.
Okay.
The name says it all.
A
Log
man
in
of-
and play our home version. Yes.
All stuck together with no spaces. BloomingtonOnline.net. Comment on the show. Comment on some sports. Be an aficionado. Go to the website. It's more people that join, the more sort of a democratic dialogue could be engendered by it, and also just like some reviews and also some puzzles and postcards. Anyway, at that, I just had Cherry walk all the way back to her seat, so I'm going to let the band play for a moment between guests while we get set up here. Hit it, boys. All right, thanks to the band for playing us through that little set break there. With that being said, since we're going to be doing yoga, we're just going to have a seat on the floor here and talk to Cherry for a moment, and then I'll let you guys know when it's time to come up if you'd like to do some yoga. Please welcome Cherry Merritt Dario. All right. Okay, we're going to begin sitting cross-legged. Before we get started on the yoga, just like to sort of get a chance to learn a little bit more about Cherry. I guess first of all, I guess I just want to ask you, what's your story, sort of? You were born overseas, and how did you find your way to Bloomington? I guess would be my question.
Jean Paul got a job here. And you know, in those days, 1961, the wife followed the husband. And we had a wonderful time, and what a place to be. We came from Colorado, and a year in 2 years in Italy, and a year in France. And we were never disappointed with Bloomington, Indiana. It's a very exciting and wonderful place. But when Jean Paul said he took a job here, I burst into hysterics and tears. I said, Bloomington, Indiana? But never regretted it for a minute. What a place to live.
All right. as we've mentioned, Cherry's a yoga instructor. Why is it
Social worker. Yoga was just on this.
yoga instructor and social worker? Pardon me. Why is it important for people to do yoga?
To learn who you are. Yoga has nothing to do with flexibility. It's to find out who you are on deeper levels.
That's beautiful. If I could get you to sort of put something out there that you said to me when I first walked in, you were talking about living in the forest among the trees. I don't know, could you just repeat that a little bit in however words so the audience could hear it?
Now, in the beginning, I lived in a subdivision. We raised 4 kids, but then I got tired of hearing those screechy plastic wheels on the stones in the side of the road, and the kids grew up, and I said, I can go to the country. And joined with a few other people at the Unitarian Church. It was a group project. We bought an old farm out Lambkins Ridge Road, and that's where I have a log cabin that my 3 teenage sons and I moved from Harrodsburg out there log by log, and it's a wonderful place. And I realized I went there without realizing yogis have to be, or it was founded anyway, in the forest, because we breathe the trees and the trees breathe us. It's very important. We forget that sometimes in our asphalt jungles in the cities.
And your house now is actually where your yoga center is as well.
It's where I live, and it's where I teach yoga. I also developed the program at Indiana University and teach there too in both credit yoga and the recreational yoga at the sports center.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I might have to check that out as a student now. Do you mind if I tell them how old you are? You can say no.
I just had a great birthday party that I didn't know I was going to have, that some of the people here threw for me when I got to the 4th ashrama of life, first year of the 4th stage of life in the yoga model. And that 4th stage is about renunciation, going into the forest. In fact, at 50, it's about this 3rd stage, it's about forest dwelling stage, and that's when I went out there, but I didn't connect it to yoga at the time, which I was in fact studying. I didn't realize I was doing the 3rd stage, and then along came my 75th birthday, and Gabe and some of the other folks here decided I should get all my friends out there, and we had a wonderful celebration. And I don't think I'll become a wandering mendicant, which is what that stage of life is you're supposed to be doing. Here, they wouldn't feed you when you went to the back door. In India, they would.
76, guys. I didn't recognize her when she came in because Gabe had told me how, or 75. I mean, Gabe had told me how old she was, and I was like, all right, where's the older yoga instructor? Where is she?
She thought I was coming
I
in a
don't see her.
wheelchair.
Oh, no. With that being said, if we could have anyone in the audience who would like to do a brief little yoga session with us, we would really, really like you to come on stage. I'll be doing it. The band's welcome to join us as well for some yoga if they would like.
It could be partly out
Yeah.
there, and it could be
You can come on stage, off stage.
Just on stage, everybody come up. We're just gonna do standing things because I didn't think we'd even.
There's
be able
Gabe,
to sit down.
the sort of producer of the show.
And we will end with a meditation. But I actually thought I was going to be talking tonight about yoga in a certain situation, which is in this war against drugs, war against the war against drugs. which
Let
is an
Sherry
oxymoron.
say what she wants to.
Yes.
No, I mean.
So anyway, we need to be strong for the future, no matter what happens. So yoga can give us that inner strength. As I say, it gives us strength and courage, and it has really nothing to do with limberness, perhaps limberness of the mind, yes, so that you can keep your center while the world sort of, dances around us in mad ways. Let's see, would you all join us up here? And I want to say a couple of things that come to mind as I'm in this room, this wonderful library auditorium. The last time I was in this room to sit down for anything, I think was when Swami Chetadananda returned a couple of years ago. He was the director of the yoga center, of the, what did we call it? What did we call his center? The big center on, none of you know. Swami Chetidananda, the ashram, and all its 9 businesses totally took over in the 60s and 70s, Bloomington, and they had wonderful, from stained glass business to lumber yards to the best restaurant in the town, you name it. And they produced, in their drug rehabilitation program, they produced so many PhDs that they had to leave Bloomington because they couldn't find jobs. And they went to Cambridge, Massachusetts. And they were there for about 12 years, I think. And then they went across the country, and they're now in Portland, Oregon. And Swami Chetidananda sat on this stage, and people poured in here from the old ashram days. Any of you part of that? You're all just a speck younger.
CJ.
It was so magical. And some of the parents who'd been so worried about their children going to the dogs, to this guru and this ashram place, came to show homage to Swami Chetidananda. They appeared here. I was really surprised. And what he told us that night, he couldn't even speak. He was so overwhelmed at everybody being out there. But he reminded us that we should open our hearts before we open our mouths every single day. So that's one thing that came to mind when Gabe asked me to come down here to the auditorium. And I'm thinking of his sitting here. And everybody, it was just such a mellow, wonderful time. So also a word about Gandhi and his satyagraha, his peace force. That if we can work on these various wars against drugs and wars against drugs or whatever, but what? But we have to remain strong, and how do you do that? Because those are tough things, and people get angry. But we have to be like, if you've seen the movie Gandhi, if you have not, go and rent it. I look at it every 5 years. Ben Kingsley plays Gandhi. You need to look at it so you understand how to do this whole trip without getting either too angry or getting too discouraged, how to stay strong on the path. I mean, that little man in his diaper there drove the British out of India through his movement called Satyagraha, the peace force. And struggled all his life with his own difficulties and things such as being attracted to young girls, which was not exactly what the image he wanted, but he wrote about all that. He wrote and shared all that with all his students. It was marvelous. And we do that through having a strong and healthy body and through meditation for the mental aspects. So let's start with some relaxation. Has everybody spoken? Or we're going to do yoga now? Okay.
No, yeah, yoga.
I don't want to use this.
We just have about probably 5 minutes to do yoga, just for a brief sample. I hope that's all right.
Let's stand up. And everybody out there can do it too. So we'll be in one big circle here. Okay? Stand in mountain pose. Stand in mountain pose. Just a mountain. Legs parallel, grounded through the feet. Legs strong. Tilt the pelvis down. Raise the sternum so we move and stand. From the chest here, suspended. Yes. And then let the top of the head float out. Mountain pose. the mountain, sometimes then we have rain on the mountain. So let's bring our arms up. We have a waterfall in the mountains. Waterfall. Fling your arms back. Mountain again. Waterfall. This feels really great, guys. Stand up and do it. Come up here. Oh, does that help the lower back? Right? And one more. Fourth one. Waterfall. Mountain again. And then let's jump our feet apart. Triangle leg position.
Triangle
See
position.
the sun coming up and going down. Okay, we're gonna come down on one side, make a big orb through the center, coming up on the other side. That feels pretty cool back there. And if it doesn't, don't go as far out. Yeah. Reaching out, like a big sunrise. So in yoga, you always want balance. So something directional, you want to do it in both directions. So you stay balanced. It's great. It's this music background. Right. Let's lower the arms. And sometimes we get angry. So we have a pose called woodchopper. And we got a big long-handled axe out there. Okay, just on the log. And you're gonna raise that axe up. You're gonna let it drop behind you, and then you're gonna go, ha! Ha! Oh, we didn't quite split it. Let's do it again. Ha! Ha! And again and again. Jump at the same time. And from deep in the belly. Ha! Ha! Yeah. Then just stand still and mount. Or triangle. Oh, got rid of all that anger. Oh boy. Breathe. And then we're heroes when all is said and done, and we've discovered all these things and we've done all these things. So we'll be a hero. So we will turn 45 degrees on our triangle legs. We'll raise our arms up next to the ears. We'll bring our knee forward, so drop into the earth from the waist down, really into the earth, but from the waist up, we are rising up our heart toward the stars, toward the blue sky. Sitting into the earth, staying grounded while rising up and facing the enemy. Here we are. We are not afraid. Chest is exposed. Throat is exposed. Take another breath. Another breath. And slowly roll. Lower down. Virabhadrasana in Sanskrit. Let's turn to the other side, so we reverse the pose. Raise our arms, bring our knee forward just above the ankle. Look up, lift your chest, open your heart. Be in the earth. Be in the sky. Breathe. 2 more times. And straighten your back.
Meditation.
And pat yourself on the back. For getting here, for doing this, for putting together the program, Dave. Yeah.
Meditation.
Meditation. You don't need to have a pen. Just sit cross-legged. I'm remembering the 4th ashrama of life, so I can't make it.
Not too long, just a word.
You have a few flyers on Deer Path, by the way, if anybody wants. Shows the log cabin a little bit. Okay, we can just sit in an easy cross-legged position or pose of the adept. The knees down, cross-legged, or pulling one leg. And we will sit tall. Everybody in the audience, sit maybe up from the back of your seat toward the front of the seat, so you can use your own strength to hold your spine up perpendicular to the back of the chair, perpendicular to the earth. And begin to be aware of the breathing. Bring it down into the lower lungs or belly, or diaphragm, rib cage, or all. Let the breath flow smoothly out, cool now as it flows back in. Exhaling out. Inhaling. A 2-minute meditation is 8 breaths. That's a mini meditation. You should do it and can do it many times during the day when you feel caught up or overstressed. Try the mini meditation. 4 breaths. Slowly bring your palms together. At the heart, the symbol of yoga is greeting the earth. Bringing the hands pressed together down to the earth, bringing the forehead to the earth. Let go of any negativity that you want to let go of. Let it flow into the earth. The earth can take care of it and leave you lighter. Come back up. Stretch out your legs and make sure they will hold you up before you get up to walk. Thank you. Wonderful music. What a treat. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming on here today. I think we all enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. I wish I had done that before I got on the stage because I feel a lot better now. We're a little short on time, so we're going to go ahead and meet our next guest, Tom Szymanski. He's right over there. And we'll have you back on for the round table in about 10 minutes. I can take that microphone from you. All right. Could I have a warm welcome for Tom Szymanski? Thank you. Thank you. All right. Welcome, Tom.
Thanks for having me.
Tom is involved with the unions here. For anyone who doesn't know, he's the organizer of, you'll get the number right. I'm going to butcher the number right now. I'll let you say it.
Yeah, it's the Electrical Workers Union, and it's a local 725, and we represent the construction electricians on residential and commercial jobs.
So you deal a lot with defending the rights of laborers and keeping steady salaries, that kind of thing.
Right. There's a lot of issues going on out there that people may be unaware of, but yes, we're just trying to create a standard of living that families can live on. They can have health insurance.
Sustainable one, right?
A sustainable one, yes. As we all know, health insurance is a big factor now on the jobs. We all hear in the news now about the pensions being taken away from workers. So we're out there trying to do the right thing.
Right. That's great. You had a piece in the Bloomington Alternative that I got a chance to look at today about the FTAA. Could you tell the audience, and both here and on the TV eventually,
Sure.
about the FTAA?
What that is, it's called the Free Trade Agreement of the Americas, and it doesn't get a lot of publicity for some reason. It's just has to do with some of these media outlets that you guys
Certainly.
talk about. So this is a great forum. But what that is basically an extension of our NAFTA that we have currently. And if anyone is aware of what happened during the summer, there was something called CAFTA that was passed, and that's the Central American Free Trade Agreement. And what all these agreements are doing are trying to open up the borders, trying to what they call harmonize the trade barriers between countries. But what the FTAA will do to our country is what NAFTA did to the manufacturers. NAFTA basically sent jobs overseas, closed down manufacturing jobs, and it was a runaway economy, basically. But what the FTAA does is it will allow companies to bring workers into this country. They are able to challenge any domestic, state, federal laws. So basically, any other job that is remaining here that can't be shipped overseas will be challenged, and the working conditions and standards will now, go down also.
I was wondering when we were discussing this earlier, why a company from another place would want to bring their operation into the United States. Like, it didn't necessarily make much sense for me because the standard of living might be more expensive. But after I had read your article, I wondered if that was because most of the companies being brought in, it would kind of be like from corporations bringing them in. So it would be sort of corporations doing to those companies what might otherwise be done to the individuals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's
Am I
all kinds of
understanding correctly?
opportunities here in America for to make a profit, basically. Just similar to what Mitch Daniels is doing with the toll road. Foreign countries coming in and going to profit off a public infrastructure that's there right now. So what it is just America has all these opportunities to make money. Just for example, in the construction industry, a company, just say from somewhere in South America, can bring a workforce in here, compete against, just say, the hotel that's being built down here, and they don't have to honor under the FTAA any minimum wage laws, any prevailing wage laws, any OSHA standards, because that would be considered unfair trade practice. So it just opens up the door for foreign companies to have another way to make a profit and some opportunities here.
Right, and hopefully in our roundtable discussion, we'll be getting to a lot of that about what's going on locally in our state. As far as the FTAA goes, something else you said in your article was that, you can already send computerized jobs overseas. You can already send, after CAFTA, there's already problems for agriculture and whatnot. But this might affect, the final level of trade work, I guess, basically, that's left that has to be done here right now.
Exactly. One of the examples that is coming out is something that's similar to what has already happened under NAFTA. What they're doing is companies can sue federal governments, state governments, or local governments. An example that has actually happened is a company in the United States manufactures a gas additive called MTBE, and this was documented on 60 Minutes a couple of years ago, and it was a way, kind of like an ethanol, an additive to the gas. And what they found out in California is it started poisoning the groundwater, the well water, and once it became known that that was the source of the problem, Canada banned MTBE in their country. And when that happened, this company sued the Canadian government under claiming that's an unfair trade practice. They are violating their right under NAFTA to have a chance to make a profit, to have a chance to increase their market share. So this case has been settled, and basically Canada had to repeal the federal ban on a toxic chemical, and they were paid, I think it was $18 million in lost profits. So this is just a starting point, and that's very similar to what's going to happen under the FTAA. And like you said, it's like the last refuge of attacks on good, decent jobs in America, because basically it's spelled out that any public service that is in operation, a company can come in and set up shop. It's kind of like the voucher school system that they're trying to promote in many states. A company can possibly come in, set up a school and say, we are now in business, and they can sue the local economy because that government agency is subsidizing that function. So
Right, and they can also pollute as much as they want to, like they don't have to follow standards of the EPA.
that's the way that it's being written, and the way it's written is it's a secret kind of tribunal. There isn't a whole lot of information out there yet. It was a secret process for 7 years, and then finally they were letting some draft documents out about what that bill is, or what the FTA is. And basically, it's written by corporations. There's no accountability to the state, federal governments. The way the thing is written is the rules supersede any constitutional provisions, any federal regulations. So, like I said, there's no accountability. It's basically a group of corporations that are determining what's going to happen to our livelihoods.
So, and those workers probably would not be able to unionize either, I would imagine.
They would have an opportunity to, supposedly they're going to honor the ILO, which is the International Labor Organization labor standards, but that was supposed to be honored under NAFTA, and that has never been enforced. It's just written in there, it's a piece of paper, but it's never been actually successfully been challenged to uphold those standards, so I'm sure it's going to be the same with the FTAA.
All right, we're running short on time, but real quickly, on the way here today, actually, I was hearing about the miners and how non-unionized miners are more likely to be injured. I just wondered what you thought about that, if you had been following that in the news and
Sure.
how the union aspect affected it.
Well, we all knew about the tragedy that happened about a month ago, and 12 miners were killed, and that was a non-union mine. But statistics do show that when there is a union at a mining facility, they are safer, because those people working there have an opportunity as a group to point out and stand together in solidarity and show what is wrong with the mine. And if they don't like something, they'll walk out. Non-union mines, it's very hard to do that, because basically you're an employee at will, and you start complaining about something, the company's going to fire you. There's no protection
Right.
there.
So if the FTAA passed and, say, a company had a mine, it would be likely to be an unsafe mine. Just as an example. Since we're real short on time, I have one more question, and then we've got to move on to the roundtable. If people are upset about what's going on with the FTA, like if they read your article, what would you advise that they do? Who do you feel like at this point would be the appropriate legislators to contact? Or
Well, I think the first thing you would have to do is just educate yourselves. There's a couple good web pages just to start out to get general information. Global Exchange has a website. There's one called stopftaa.org, and then publiccitizen.org with Ralph Nader's information is a good source, and it just leads you to other places.
all right. Well, thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you.
I'll see you again in about 2 seconds for the roundtable. The band's going to play for us again momentarily. Are you set up? Please welcome all of our guests onto the panel. Got Cherry coming out first. You guys can just waltz onto stage, whatever order you see fit. Okay, one person can have, yeah. There we go. Okay. And then if you guys don't mind sharing that one, I'm going to pass this one over to Dale, if that works for you guys. All right, so I guess I'm really excited because the first thing I wanted to address on this panel is actually what was coming up in your interview. All the privatization that's going on in the state legislature right now. I'd just like to hear what you guys think about it, sort of get individual views. We have the telecom bill, which I would assume we're all aware of, that would basically take power away from local facilities to regulate phone rates. And I was even reading today that it could be that they want to replace having phone lines with internet connections. They're like, well, the internet has phone connections now, so everybody can just use that, was something that they said as one of their intentions. And I was like, does everyone have computers in rural areas? Is that what you're getting at? Because I doubt that. Just like to open that up to you guys, just to have your thoughts on it, about particular
we're at the point
legislation.
already that how many people have high-speed internet out in the rural areas now? I mean, it's very limited.
I'm
So,
sure.
is this going to help get those people that service? I hardly think so, but I don't know. It's quite a troubling issue.
I'm blissfully ignorant about this issue, so I have nothing to contribute.
I think the basic idea is that 3 corporate conglomerates have come in, and they already have like 93% of phone lines under their control anyway. There's only 7% competition for them. They say that they need to have control over rates and have that centralized rather than decentralized, so that there can be more competition, technology can increase faster, et cetera, et cetera. When the fact of the matter is, from my perspective at least, there's already not very much competition, and their desire could be even less competition. It has to do with, like, right here we're sitting being filled by cats. That would definitely be affected. I don't know. I don't know if I did a good job summing it up. It's kind of all over the place.
Well, it's back in the 80s when they broke up Ma Bell and they had all the smaller companies, right? That was going to lower our prices, make everything more efficient. But where are we at now? There's maybe 3 or 4 major phone companies, and they're just consolidating power. So how is this going to be any different? It's just the competition may be there now, but it's just going to consolidate eventually. So, that's not going to be good for the consumer.
And
I belong to Working Assets. That's a phone company that's independent and does a lot of political and social work. I just paid my bill today.
Along with the Telecommunications Acts, I think, was it today that there were toll road bills going through the state legislature? Basically, 37 could become a toll road that we'd all have to pay for. So that probably passed today. My question is, what services can our government provide for us with our tax money if we now have to pay for our roads? And this ties back into, we started to talk about that earlier, how they were bringing in people from out of state to take care of it. What effect does this have on laborers? How real is the Walmartization coming from that, I guess?
Well, as we kind of talked about in the past, these toll roads, I just actually read today that when they break down the total amount, 3.8 billion, I believe it is, it comes out to like $53 million a year in profits that this company is going to make. And that is half of what the state would have been taking in if they kept the toll roads and what they make now annually. I guess they take in about $100 million for owning that road. So when you break down the numbers, they just don't add up. And as you mentioned, if these roads were so profitable in the past, why didn't they build them then? Why didn't they create them then? It's because no one thought they could make any money and couldn't make money at them. That's not the purpose of the roads. It's a service for the government to provide a function that all of us can enjoy. It shouldn't be broken down into what you can afford. this all comes out to different, the sales tax and the different issues with taxation, but government has a function to provide certain services for our citizens. So now we are just basically trying to eliminate some from some people, because not everyone is going to be able to afford the road, especially if 37 becomes a toll road. I mean, that's ridiculous. We've already paid taxes to have it built, and now we're going to be, as they say, double taxed. So and as far as labor is concerned, I guess there is a part of that law that was written into the bill that says, it will be a prevailing wage job, which means the people who are actually doing the construction work will be getting a decent wage and a pension and payments into their benefits.
That's reassuring, at least.
But sometimes you got to look at the big picture, though, and see where is this going to lead. How come they're not going to privatize the road, the highway that's going to go from Lafayette to, I believe, Fort Wayne? That's going to be a free highway. I don't understand where they're coming up with these different determinations, which is going to be a toll road, which isn't.
Yeah, and it seems like these bills have been popping out so fast that by the time you're hearing about it, by the time each individual hears about it, it's like, oh yeah, that's going through the legislature tomorrow. You should probably call your congressman. How can we as citizens, like for instance, your website and with technology, how do you think we can incorporate that as a solution to us finding out about these things faster? And more people finding out about it and not waking up, a month later and being like, oh, they just made a rule about that. Oh, I have to pay a toll now? What happens if I don't have any money? Which I do wonder what happens if you don't have any money on a toll road. But back to the original question, is the internet, is technology, how can we make that even a more viable tool to communicate about important local issues and politics?
I think that's the key. I think, at least from my point of view, politics on the local level is the only area that we can really hope to have any impact on. I think I stopped paying attention to the details about national issues some time ago because, first of all, they have such a good job of spinning things that you never know what the truth. The national media is just a candy machine. It's all different flavors of the same crap. There's no, they talk about phoning it in. They just all reprint the AP wire services, They change the words around a little bit. It's the same crap. Does it ever bother you that on the whole planet Earth that's got, 6 billion people on it, there's only 10 stories a day?
And Britney Spears is the special interview guest on a news channel. 10 stories on CNN, on MSNBC, on Fox News. They've all got their little spins to it to make the conservatives or liberals it's nuts. So you can't even have a good opinion about national issues because you don't know what's the truth and what's propaganda. To me, nobody faint, but I think that George Bush is one of the best presidents the United States has ever had. And the reason that I do is that he's so arrogant that he's stripped away the veneer. They don't even try anymore to make it look good. It's screw you. So what? We want this. Halliburton with the no-bid contracts in Iraq, plus getting the minimum wage waived. The Vice President of the United States is just filling his pockets, and what's anybody doing? Nothing. They're worried about Britney Spears. Yeah. Or
She's
American
looking
Idol.
pretty fat and pale if you've looked at the Weekly World News lately.
I didn't applaud. I'm sorry, Britney Spears. This whole contractual issue with free trade and with Iraq, with Halliburton, I think that guy that was involved with giving the different bids just pled guilty today, maybe, or yesterday, about fraudulent use of money, Lexus's properties in North Carolina. But I feel like what that goes back to is free trade, which is an issue I don't feel like I have a very good handle on. And I'm wondering if maybe before we proceed with the discussion, I bet you probably have a pretty good handle on free trade. If you could just sort of enlighten us just a little bit for some of us who are less aware of like how that would happen with Halliburton in Iraq, for instance.
Well, actually, the FTAA is still really a secret process that's going on. Some of these groups, like I mentioned earlier, have gotten draft copies of the bill that it's written now, but that doesn't mean it's going to change. But it's one of those things that's corporate driven. The heads of these trade agreements in the WTO, any of these global organizations are driven by corporate CEOs and people who are on the upper echelons of these, society. And what they're just looking to do is they want free market expansion, free market access. But if there's any, that doesn't include any limiting any laws for them, but, they would like to have those limited laws for workers' rights, environmental standards, and they like to trash those, but they don't want to keep the same standards for themselves. So it's just a race to the bottom is what it's going to be. And as far as specifically Iraq and all that, I mean, these corporations are just making these deals just to get the most profit wherever they see the opportunity. As we know, Halliburton, those contracts were no-bid contracts, and that's just the icing on the cake, what they see in the future.
Just to play devil's advocate for a minute, do any of you see it as possible that maybe all of what's going on right now is just an inevitable step in the march of progress, and this is what we have to go through to find globalization if we don't kill ourselves first, and maybe eventually everything will just even out and we're wasting our breath, or maybe, we could take a Darwinian approach to it and say, well, survival of the fittest, this is our country and we want it to be the strongest and the best and have the most money and the most cars. I mean, I just ruined playing devil's advocate. I destroyed it. But there is that contention to a serious and probably less arrogant degree, that this is just what we have to do to keep on in life.
I don't know. I think it's just a matter of there's a point where everyone, I think, is going to be totally pissed off, and it's just going to happen one day that things are going to change abruptly. We saw this, if you know much about labor history, the strikes of 1877, that was a national strike that happened through the railroad companies, and that was never planned, but it just basically shut down the country then, and it was just, everyone just tired, they're fed up, and everybody went on strike. And I think it's going to be similar to this. I mean, everybody sees it every day, every week, something chipped away, something else is taken from them, and there's going to be a point, I think, where it's just going to stop. And, we may not recognize it consciously, but we kind of feel it, and we know things are going sour. When you got Daniels reorganizing the Workforce Development Board, and people are waiting up to 3 months to get unemployment checks, all in the name of efficiency.
Could you
That's
explain
wrong.
that issue just for a second? Because you told me about that earlier. And
Private.
Okay.
Go
I
ahead.
wanted to bring in sort of a different aspect.
Sure.
This whole thing, we heard it, some of us down, the city government people talking about, and they did a beautiful presentation with, colored slides and all kinds of things. The peak oil crisis. I mean, all these toll roads, but if we don't have any oil for the trucks and they can't drive on them, so we have to think of some other underlying issues that are part of all this. Peak oil would seem to be a major one. We're peaking on the availability of oil. What?
diverting.
Funds the high-speed rail.
Yeah, that's that thing that they brought up. I was very excited about that personally.
Yeah,
So-
I've been saying invest in train stock for a minute, but there you go. That's great, and that makes me think of the whole oil addiction commentary in Bush's speech. But real fast, before we talk about that, I want to rewind a little bit to what you were talking about with what had happened with the unemployment offices. Just because if anyone doesn't know about it, I'm not glad that I heard about it today, but I feel more informed. That
Sure.
Tom
Well,
told me
as we
about
all
it
know,
today.
Daniels took office. He wants to run the government like a business. He thinks it's everything is somehow needs to make money to be, a way to run things. So one of the things he did was he consolidated a lot of the local community unemployment offices in the name of efficiency, and basically shut down all the rural offices and consolidated them to basically Indianapolis. So if you are unemployed, and as you know, you have to go down, file paperwork, and you start getting your check in about 2 weeks. That was the old days. Now he's consolidated all the offices in Indianapolis. You have to go up there, drive up there physically, fill out the paperwork there. And when he made this change, it's just like the toll road situation. It happened overnight, so there was no preparation. So checks were up to 3 months late getting to people because everything was just in turmoil. So can you imagine being unemployed, going 3 months without a paycheck? I mean, it's just a whole kingdom he lives in compared to what the real workers are going through.
Well, not to mention your children and stuff has several people, which even if you were taking this Darwinian sort of outlook, you know, the children had nothing to do with their parents becoming unemployed, and likely their jobs being taken away and sent to other countries and plants closing down probably had a lot more to do with it.
Yeah, and that's just one of the little things I'm talking about being chipped away. People see this every day now. You know, they don't realize until it affects them personally. And that's one of the things this show is doing, is trying to enlighten how other people are being affected by these policies and decisions. But unfortunately, it seems like until it happens to you personally, then that's when you become aware. So,
I guess my next question would be when are we going to react? When are we? I feel like Bloomington's already reacting to a certain extent, but I feel like we could yell a lot louder. You know, what do you think it'll take as a breaking point, or what can we, on an individual level, start doing to initiate progress, a platform for the more less oil concerned? I don't know. I'm trying to keep this balanced, so I'll stop. But what can we do if we see these freedoms being chipped away as libertarians or as Green Party members? Because it seems like at the end of the horseshoe, we're all sort of in agreement. You know, we're all like, this is bad. The government has too much control. Sorry. So what can we do?
I don't think the government has much control at all. I think that we live in a corporatocracy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that word's been made up, but if it hasn't, I would like to trademark it.
I think it could be kind of like an oligarchy.
I mean, you look at these defense bills and they load in all this stuff that has nothing to do with defense, and this guy's bridge in Alaska to that little island. It's all about corporations, and I think that it's come to the point where Congress is theater now. And they're filling their pockets, and the ones that aren't are really trying hard, but they're not getting anywhere. And the Senate, it's all full of millionaires and billionaires. I mean, what's somebody getting minimum wage at Walmart going to do? Change the world, when it just takes one of these Abramoffs and to step on the whole town. My personal philosophy, I have kind of given up politics, except on the local level. In my little condo association, I'll raise hell if I think that they're too restrictive or the grass isn't getting cut. And in Bloomington, I think that I can have an impact in Bloomington because it's my little frame of reference. But I don't think that Daniels is going to listen to me. I shouldn't say that. I haven't tried. He might return my phone call in 10 minutes, you know, and Bush is the same way. But my own approach is to keep it close. And if I'm going to work and somebody has a flat tire, I take them to the gas station. Or if I have a friend that's having some trouble, I try and help them out. And if I see a local issue, I'll campaign about it, or I'll bring it to the city council's attention if I think it's really necessary. But beyond the city limits of Bloomington, maybe stretch it out to Monroe County, I'm not sure what impact that I can have other than to waste my time on something that I have no control over until I win the lottery and become a billionaire, and then maybe somebody will listen to me too. How's that for a buzzkill?
We had someone on the last show pose the question, should we call this class warfare? And I objected with the people on the show, I think, to calling it warfare, just to be polite about the whole thing and maybe more peaceful. But is that what this globalization is going to turn into? Because I don't want to sound paranoid, and I don't want to sound like a Marxist, but it does sort of seem like what's happening is the wealthy are being definitely pitted against the poor, and it does almost seem like a sort of class warfare that's going on. And it seems like the aggressors are really the upper class here, like the upper echelon, the oligarchy of corporate America, and for that rate, it seems like that could come on a global level, like the corporate oligarchy of China is okay with the corporate oligarchy here. Am I being irrational?
Well, if the United States invades the Bahamas, is that warfare? No, it's not. what is it, like 2% of the American population has 98% of the
Yes.
wealth or something crazy like that? I mean, it's not warfare. It's not a balanced playing field. It's a massacre.
And CEOs average 500 times the worker's salary. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
It's incredible.
All these people get laid off. They lose their pensions. They lose their health care. But are these guys losing their yachts and they're losing their private jets? No, they're not. And these corporations aren't trying to improve services. You ever call somebody on one of these companies and it says to better serve you? You know right then you're going to get screwed. They're either going to reduce service or they're going to raise prices, but they always started out to better serve you.
And they're going to pick up the phone in probably India.
Exactly. And they're not trying to get better. All they're trying to do is gobble up little places. So Walmart is going to be buying up these little grocery stores, or they're buying up their land, not to make anything better, but to just take over. And eventually there's going to be one brand of everything. And we're going to just switch places with the Soviet Union, and they're going to have the democracy, and we're going to have the lions. It's just astonishing.
Well, there's the overall polarization of wealth. We don't have a middle class hardly any. I mean, we have poor and we have rich. And that's happening on a bigger and bigger scale around the world. And that's kind of, that's a bad sign. I mean, we know what happened to France, right? And the French Revolution was the result. So, I mean, are we ready for a class revolution or something? We seem to be moving toward that on a higher scale than in the past. But we have all these means of communicating worldwide, too, and that's sort of scary. And I'm afraid, like, my friends are dropping their landlines, they're called now, their telephones. But I don't have, how can I call my friends? Because I don't have a cell phone.
Right. I think I was going to ask with that issue of on a global level, is it class warfare or class disagreement? I was going to ask, can we use this tool of the internet? I mean, it already is being used to unite people, but on a political level, can we use this tool like the internet to say to other people in other countries, like, yo, we don't really like what Bush is doing either. Like, we're trying our best to change it, you know, or can we connect locally and globally sort of at the same time to divert crisis, I guess?
Well, first of all, the countries can determine what gets passed. So China has contracts with Google, and they're not allowed to look up things like human rights. So if you try and send email to the Chinese people about it, they'll never see it. Because to the Chinese, stuff like that's spam, so they just whack it. Okay, we'll have none of that. And here, they just subpoenaed all the search records for Google and Yahoo and MSN. I mean, are you really going to want to start talking about revolutionary stuff to people in other countries when our own government is listening to everything that you type, talk, and mail? I don't know. The thing about the internet is it makes it easier to track radical notions. If their conversations are on their paper that you can burn, they can't get to it. But by golly, whatever you were looking at on Google last year is still there for them to look at. And that's a pretty scary thought.
We have just a few minutes left. Do I have any quick audience questions that I could address? Oh, yes, Robert.
Yeah. Don't you think that what's going on in Bolivia and Venezuela and Brazil is an optimistic thing going on? I mean, how many hundreds of years ago did people come to North America to set up democracy, in quotation marks? It's happening in South America now.
Yeah, George Bush was there, 2-3 months ago, and he was down there trying to promote the FTAA, back to that topic. But yeah, I think gives me hope that there is potential for change and a different viewpoint on globalization. There's nothing wrong with trade as long as it's done on a fair and equitable level where everyone can benefit. Right now, these trade agreements are one-sided, and they're going to help globalizate or corporate companies looking to globalize. And that's where Hugo Chavez in Venezuela basically said the FTAA is dead here and now. And that's where they're having the World Social Forum down there concluded this past week. And yeah, I think it's a good sign that there is possibility of change. But on the other hand, how many people have heard about any of those things going on down south? And back to the media, and what kind of exposure, what kind of stories get exposed. Unless you go searching for that on your own, it's really hard to educate the public on those type of stories.
Did you have any other response for that, or?
I think
We're
I've
cutting
said
one
plenty.
off. Okay. All right. If we have more audience questions, we'll give you guys a second to formulate those and maybe even make your way up to the front if you want to while we hear a little word from the band. Don't play too loudly, kids. Oh, I just didn't want it right in our ears. I was being really selfish. I didn't want you guys to jump off the seat and run away before anyone could ask any questions. When we get to the end, would you mind like giving a little word of calm and peace on the way out, since we're back on. Well, I'll ask you in a second. All right, thank you, boys. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask? Looks like Milo has approached the stage.
Thing happening here? Okay, there it goes. Often with discussing any of these issues, people end up with fairly a bleak prospect or a sense of despair about things, especially with things that are pretty scary about the consolidation of power and monitoring of public thought and private thought. But there's really too many of us for them to ever keep track of or to lock all up. That's why they target certain individuals sometimes, and if you're really going to be at the forefront of something, you kind of expect to be a martyr. But I think there are things that we can do on every level. Of course, it's a little harder on the national level, but at times they do feel pressure. Alaska, they haven't drilled there, and that's because of public outcry. FCC regulations have been blocked when there's public outcry. It's really our internalization of the fear that is what's keeping progress from happening. So I would encourage everybody to get involved in whatever motivates them, whatever they think is important, and put your voice in there. And I mean, it's just going to be worse if you don't. You're going to feel worse if you don't.
Yeah, sure. We have a reverse question for you.
I have a question for you. How can we, as intelligent yet non-billionaire people, prioritize as a group, because there is so many things to react to, that how can we together decide what is the most important thing to focus on?
Well, one thing is it's got to be what motivates you, what you really feel is the most important, and that's going to be different for everyone. But I'd say put your 2 cents on anything. I actually have a group list where I put out activist alerts, and it could be any issue, any public issue. Sometimes it's just discussional things or an article, but anybody can go to it, and if something sparks up, and it's about this legislation is happening now, call your representative about this, write a letter to the editor about this, kind of things. And anything that comes up like that, a couple minutes, you got your word in there. You got your name on the thing. And that's one way that the internet has actually made that a lot more efficient than the typical ways of getting these things in. There, boom, you're logged. And like I say, you're going to be monitored. They're monitoring PETA. I mean, come on, and Quakers. But, like I say, there's too many of us. There's people locally that have been the Pastors for Peace caravan down in the Chiapas in Mexico. They're basically taking humanitarian aid down to peasants and things in what's considered, it's basically kind of considered aid to communist insurgents in Mexico. But these people are walking around free. They've been doing this for years. They've never had a personal interview with the FBI or anything like that. So if we really just all get involved, there's no way that they can quite squelch us all. But, just start plugging in. You got to devote personal time to it. You got to eliminate a little bit of frivolousness, a little bit of entertainment maybe, to spend a little time each day or each week at least to educate yourself and, find where you can put your comments in. And it's always best to personalize these things when you talk to representatives and things. And corporations actually are often meeting with environmental groups. There have been a lot of strides and accomplishments made by continued, consistent pressure. It can take years, and you got to be patient, and you got to be diligent. You can't expect it to be changed like that. And if you're not, forget it, because you got to keep pushing and dropping those grains of sand until it tips the balance.
Thanks.
Thank you. Does anyone else in the audience have any questions?
I do. I have a question for Cherry. If I grind down that mound between Adam and Eve, I mean, can women and men get along a little bit better? And that's part one. And number two, did Adam get his dick back, or
Oh yes, Jean-Paul had to write a requisition for. He has 3 replacements. Bronze. Yes, he did have to make a new one, and then he made an extra one. And he requisitioned it from the physical plant, and I don't know what they thought, but it was very funny.
But do you think if I grind down that mound, I mean, will there be more energy flow between women and men, or is that hill insurmountable?
I would ask Jean-Paul first, and I'm sorry I didn't bring him tonight. I just missed my chance to have him be here. He would have loved this whole meeting. He would have loved this. So he's recuperating from some illnesses, but. Yeah, call him up and talk to him about it.
No, but the mound, I mean, can I get rid of this
Oh
mound?
my goodness, Gabe, I'd like to kick this question asker off the stage. Does anyone have any serious questions they'd like to ask? Okay, I was actually, we have just a few minutes left. I was actually going to ask Cherry a question too. If maybe there was something sort of peaceful and soothing and yet inspirational to inspire many of us to act, and everyone watching to sort of stop leading a life of quiet desperation and be a little bit more desperate, but also peaceful, which I was hoping could sort of be Cherry's contribution to the show ending.
I did have a little piece by Martin Luther King referring to how he became inspired by Mahatma Gandhi. And so these are, I believe, Dr. King's words, and we are still in his month. He is speaking here. In reading about Gandhi's concept of satyagraha, truth force, or firmness in the truth, I realized that he equated satyagraha with ahimsa, which is nonviolence or non-harming. This simple philosophy he asserted so eloquently and firmly, through his movement in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, that he drove the British out of India relatively peacefully. This was Dr. King's model for his powerful and peaceful civil rights movement. Let us now observe a 2-minute contemplation upon these thoughts, the truth force within our own hearts as we enter a mood of meditation, breathing in and breathing out for a minute. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. This has been very enlightening and very inspiring. And may we all go home reflecting upon all these things. Thank you for coming. Thank you for organizing this.
All right, and a special thanks to Katz for filming this for us tonight, to Annie and to Gabe for putting this all together, to everyone in the audience, to Robert Scholl, to the band, and to Tom Smansky, Cherry Merritt Dario, and also Dale Staten. Thank you, and with that, have a good night and enjoy the band. Oh, in the band, we have DJ Joe Lipsnicki, Did I say that right? Joe's a good friend. I just can't say his name. We have Dan Wick and CJ Young on drums. There. Thank you, Chautauqua Band, and guests and audience.